Hi, everybody. Well, it's gotten cold here in Michigan, so it's getting a little harder every day to get out and do any metal detecting. So I'm going to be starting into some of my winter projects. I was originally going to get out with the wife today and take her on her first metal detecting hunt, but it's a little gloomy out, so that isn't going to happen. So I'm going to start in on a new project, and I'll kind of take you along through it as I go. What I've got here is a wallet kit. My wife asked me to make her a new checkbook cover and wallet. I do a lot of stuff from scratch, but I ordered this kit just to do a quick project, make her a wallet. It comes with pre-cut leather, all the insides and parts you need, some thread, some needles. They give you some patterns if you want to put them on. I have a lot of different patterns I can use. I think for this project I'm going to use the pattern that came with the kit. Of course, I've got all my tools and different things I need for my leather carving. Now there's two different types of leather work. There is actual carving, and then there's stamping. Uh, the stamping is relatively easy. I don't do a lot of the stamping. I mostly do the leather carving. It takes more time, takes more effort, but I like the finished products better. Now, the first step is to transfer your pattern onto a tracing paper. I usually like to tack it down and trace it on with a pencil. A lot of the processes can be fairly tedious and time consuming, so you've got to like what you're doing, actually. But like I said, in the winter months, it gives me something to do. Well, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've got my pattern traced out on here now, and move on to the next step, which is applying the pattern to the leather. Now, in order to apply the pattern to the leather, you have to wet the leather. So I just take a wet sponge and totally wet down the piece. That way, as you draw the pattern on, it indents into the leather and it'll hold the pattern. After wetting the leather, you have to apply. What I do is I use thumbtacks and tack down my pattern. Okay, I've applied the thumbtacks to hold the paper down, but I put them through the stitching holes so as not to poke any holes in the leather. And the next step is to actually draw the pattern with this tool into the leather. Okay, that took a few minutes. You can see the pattern has been applied to the leather. The next step, and which is why this is called carving, is you have what's called a swivel knife. This end swivels on here, and you use it to cut your pattern into the leather. You don't cut all the way through the leather. You're just tracing with the knife and making a series of cuts along these lines that actually cuts your pattern into the leather. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, I finished the process of cutting the pattern into the leather. Now, these steps I've taken so far have taken me about a half hour. Like I said, this is kind of meticulous work. If you're easily bored, you might not want to take this up. It's enjoyable if you're into this kind of thing. Now, between each step, I'm always applying the water. It keeps the leather soft and easy to tool. I try to do the whole piece too, in case there's any discoloration from the water. It's consistent. The next step in this procedure, you use a beveling tool. It's got a kind of a beveled edge on it. And what you're doing is you're going around the pattern and actually making the pattern stand out by beveling the edge of it. But you do this process all the way around it on all the lines to make it stand out. Well, I'm about halfway done with the hammering process. Hundreds of little hammer taps all the way around all the edges. Now I'll take this, which is a smoothing tool, and start to go around and just smooth the edges of all the bevels all the way around. And of course I have to hammer this side also. It's a long process. Okay, I'm done with the basic outlining of it now. Now I have a few other tools I have to use and do some detail work on it. Now I'll let you see what that looks like when I'm done. Well, I've done most of my detailing off camera. Otherwise, you'd fall asleep watching this video. It takes a little bit of time. But the next stage is to start dyeing. I'm going to go with some black in the backgrounds and then brown throughout the rest of it. See you on the next part.